Brad Keselowski says there are too many road courses on the NASCAR schedule. Is he right? How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. It is road course week for NASCAR fans. Chicago street race last Sunday, Sonoma Raceway on deck. We'll talk about road course racing more broadly in just a moment, but first I want to back up to a late race restart at Chicago. A few rows behind the race leader, you can see a huge stack up. Austin Cindric comes flying in. That red car, Ross Chastain, does a sort of half spin. You can see on the onboard replays a huge stack up. Stenhouse into the back of Logano, into the back of Chastain. Then in the very next corner, Ross Chastain, upset, spins Joey Logano into Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Joey Logano, caught in the crossfire, was furious post-race, confronted Ross Chastain on pit road, then spoke to reporters as he was walking to the garage saying, quote, "Ross admitted he wrecked me on purpose. He admitted it, which means he should get fined if he admittedly wrecked someone on purpose. That's not okay. It's just typical Ross. He just sees red and does dumb stuff." Joey Logano calling for a fine, calling for a penalty. Bob Pockrass, Fox Sports, has already reported that NASCAR will not issue any penalties for what happened at Chicago, not for Logano Chastain, not for Bowman versus Bubba. Clean slate heading into Sonoma. Although, on the Hauler Talk podcast this week, NASCAR Communications Director Mike Ford did say that both Joey Logano and Ross Chastain will likely be talked to ahead of this weekend's race at Sonoma. He actually said that Joey Logano went to the NASCAR hauler after Chicago to tell officials what Ross told him, to explain what had happened. I mean, there's got to be a joke in there somewhere, right? Joey Logano tattling on Ross Chastain for over-aggressive driving, for spinning somebody out, for letting his emotions get the best of him in the moment. Like, we can all see the irony, right? It's obvious. Look, I think Ross was wrong. I don't think Joey Logano caused the initial incident. There was a stack up in the outside lane. It was Cindric came flying. It was Stenhouse who hit Logano from behind into Chastain. Ross was wrong. He should not have retaliated against Joey Logano. I do believe he wrecked Logano on purpose. He drove into turn 2, a whole lane off the bottom. If you were writing a guide on how to spin somebody out in NASCAR, that was textbook form right there. I do believe Ross Chastain retaliated on purpose. Joey Logano has a right to be mad, but him going to NASCAR, tattling, calling for a fine, a penalty, it's a little weird, a little ironic. Although, you know what? Actually, you know what? I take all of that back. Ross was wrong, for sure. But Joey is smart enough. He knows that if he goes out there and retaliates on the track, he could get punished himself. He has to be careful. NASCAR's created this environment because of how they officiated the Hamlin-Chastain debacle a couple years ago, penalizing Hamlin, how they fined Ricky Stenhouse Jr. $75,000 last year for fighting Kyle Busch. NASCAR has sent this convoluted message to the drivers, hey, you self-police, but don't cross this vague line or we'll punish you. So yeah, I guess we can kind of make fun of Joey Logano for tattling on Ross Chastain, but I actually don't blame him. He was wronged on the racetrack, but he knows that if he retaliates, there's a good chance he gets in more trouble, and he doesn't want to hurt his team, obviously. So anyway, Joey Logano upset with Ross Chastain, rightfully so in my eyes, but thought those were some funny or very interesting comments to say the least. We'll watch that rivalry over the coming days and months, but now let's talk road course racing more broadly. Does NASCAR have too many road courses on the Cup Series schedule? For many years, there were only 2. Sonoma on the West Coast, Watkins Glen on the East Coast. 2 out of 36 Cup Series races. I put up this graphic. Back in 2017, there were only 2 road races on the schedule. They added the Roval in 2018, but still 2, 3 a year. Pandemic, of course, shook things up. Then suddenly 7 road races, 6, 5, 6. The number of road races on this schedule have tripled in less than a decade, which has led to these kinds of discussions. NASCAR SiriusXM host Pete Pistone generated some conversation this week when he posted the criticism from some today about too many road courses is ironic to me because fans literally strongly asked for more just a handful of years ago. So many callers to the channel, and as this story reminds, on other platforms. And he links to a motorsport.com story from 2016, which suggested fans would like to see more road course racing. I've got a few thoughts on this. First and foremost, I appreciate Pete linking an old article showing his work. That's good, but first and foremost, context is key. 9 years ago, when that article was posted, the Cup Series schedule was flooded with intermediate ovals. We raced at Texas twice a year, Charlotte, the oval, twice a year, Pocono twice a year, Michigan twice a year, Chicagoland, Kentucky were still on the schedule. Traditional ovals had become stale in many ways, and the way the Gen 5 and then the Gen 6 lumbered around road course racing made those events exciting, different, mistakes, action-packed finishes, big moments. But that was 9 years ago. Today, we have fewer intermediate ovals on the schedule, and now the next gen or Gen 7 car drives better at road courses, but that's not necessarily a good thing. Plus, we have stage racing, stage breaks in particular, that break up the flow, mess up the natural strategy. So context is key. The on-track product looks very different today than it did 9 years ago when that article Pete is referencing was written. Brad Keselowski, Cup Series champion, active Cup Series driver and team co-owner, responded to Pete's pro road course post with his own comments. Brad Keselowski said, quote, "We went from 2 to 6 road course races, possibly 7 next year. NASCAR was successfully built as a primarily oval racing series. IMSA was built as the primary road course series in North America. IMSA will always do road racing better than NASCAR, and that's okay. Yes, too many road courses in NASCAR." So Keselowski, not a fan of the current number of road races on the Cup schedule. And I think he's being objective because sure, you could say, well, of course Brad doesn't want 6 road races on the schedule. Have you seen his numbers lately? But he actually pointed out in a follow-up that as an owner, with Preece running really well at road races this year, Chris Buescher obviously won a road course last season, really good himself. From an owner's perspective, Keselowski says he actually would want more road races, but he's trying to be objective. So I'll give Keselowski credit, even though I disagree with him. I'll point this out. He mentions NASCAR being primarily an oval racing series. 30 out of 36 races are on ovals. If we include the exhibitions, 32 out of 38 are on ovals. That's 82% of the Cup schedule ovals. Still sounds like NASCAR is primarily an oval racing series to me. Is 6 road races too many? Maybe. I've often said the sweet spot is probably 4 to 5. I believe COTA has earned a stable spot on the schedule. Great facility, big market. Watkins Glen, of course, fan favorite, good race, should stick around. You could probably drop the Roval, in my opinion, with how good this car is at intermediates. I'd rather see like a 400-mile race on the Charlotte Oval in the fall. Some fans are going to hate what I'm about to say, but Sonoma is arguably the least interesting road course race on the calendar and has been pretty much my entire life. COTA, Watkins Glen, give me a street race, Chicago, San Diego, whatever, give me a street race, and then maybe Montreal, Mexico City, or give me Road America every now and then. Boom. 4 to 5 road course races a year. That would be the sweet spot. I don't think we need to go back to 2, for example. There should be 1 road course in the playoffs every year. You have to make the road courses matter. This is how I look at it. I think NASCAR's diverse schedule is frankly one of its greatest strengths. The 2025 schedule, there are 6 drafting style tracks, or races, I should say, Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta. There are 6 true short track races on the calendar. There are 7 conventional 1.5 mile track events. So it seems to me like 6 road course races fits in quite nicely. Helps keep the schedule nice and balanced. Yeah, you have a lot of other interesting ovals in there like Pocono or Gateway or Darlington that are kind of intermediate, kind of short tracks. They don't really fit into one perfect category, but point is I think 6 road course races, 4, 5, 6, if you want to put it somewhere in that range, keeps the schedule balanced and will still force drivers and teams to pay attention to the road courses, to put actual effort in. That was the problem with the Bristol dirt race. It was one dirt race early in the year. Why should teams pour so much effort, energy, time, money into that event when it's one race, kind of a wild card, and it shares nothing in common with any other track on the schedule? Back when there were only 2 road courses on the schedule in the middle of the summer, a lot of great drivers would just take those weeks off. I was a Matt Kenseth fan. I saw it with my own eyes. He may not admit it, but Matt Kenseth was just trying to get through those races. Finish 15th at Watkins Glen, go win the Bristol night race the next week. That was Matt Kenseth's strategy, and it worked pretty well in 2013, but it wouldn't work today in 2025, because today, to make a deep playoff run, to earn all those playoff points in the regular season, you need to be good at the road courses too. You need to have a more diverse skill set as a driver. I believe the current crop of NASCAR Cup Series drivers is the most talented road course racing field in the sport's history. All due respect to the greats like Tony Stewart, who was a great road racer, Jeff Gordon, maybe the best road racer in NASCAR history. He certainly has the accolades perhaps to back that up. Ricky Rudd, legends before them even. There were some great road racers, but they were carrying the sport on their back. A lot of the other drivers in the field in those eras, they didn't know what they were doing. That is not the case today. Nowadays, you got obviously great drivers like Shane Van Gisbergen, AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, Connor Zilisch coming up the ranks. But now teams, OEMs, put an emphasis on road racing. A lot of these younger guys like Tyler Reddick has emerged as a great road racer because it's been drilled into him for many, many years. Chase Elliott, great road racer. Kyle Larson, very good. Christopher Bell, even Chris Buescher, they've all put in the work. They study harder than drivers did back in the day. They have all this information, technology, sim experience. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota, get them behind the wheel of sports cars. Let them run the Rolex. Cup drivers today are forced to take road course racing more seriously than Cup drivers of 10, 20, 30 years ago. And I think that's a good thing. I like road course races because it's obvious when the driver's skill is making a difference. Compare that to Daytona nowadays. It doesn't feel like the driver makes a lick of a difference, frankly. All these road races have invited drivers like SVG, world-class racers like Kimi Räikkönen, and many others. They've given NASCAR a try. I think it's raised NASCAR's profile on the world stage. Shoot, they took a modified next-gen Cup car to Le Mans, to the 24 hours, and were competitive, were exceeding pretty much all expectations. I actually went back and watched the Amazon documentary they just published, and it was cool. It brought back a lot of really fun memories. It was a great inside peek into that whole endeavor. Point is, adding several road course races to the schedule, I think, has been a huge boost for NASCAR. It's introduced world-class facilities like COTA, Road America into the Cup schedule, into the Cup rotation. The Chicago street race, a huge experiment. San Diego, other cities interested in bringing NASCAR to their towns. Road course racing has opened up a world of possibilities. I like having 4 to 5, maybe 6 road races on the schedule every single year. I do think NASCAR in some ways is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Many of the older traditional fans prefer ovals. They've seen ovals, they understand ovals, and in many cases, ovals are the most entertaining NASCAR product. I get it. But the younger potential fan prefers road racing. Street racing is cool. Formula One is cool. Ovals are boring. It's just turning left. That's a very real stereotype that NASCAR has struggled to overcome amongst younger audiences. So that's what I mean when I say it's good NASCAR's schedule is so diverse. You have these 5, 6 road course races over here, a serious chunk of important events that road racing fans can sink their teeth into, but the bulk of the schedule is still a variety of ovals because they do consistently put on, in my opinion, the most compelling NASCAR product. That's the history, that's the roots of this sport. To Keselowski's point, IMSA, great North American road course racing series. NASCAR, to Keselowski's point, should not be trying to be IMSA. That's not to say they can't take certain traits of IMSA and adapt them to NASCAR for select events, because I do think many of the road races in recent years, from Road America to the streets of Chicago to COTA to Mexico City, I think road racing has allowed NASCAR to do some very cool things the past few years that they otherwise may not have had the opportunity to do. So I disagree with Keselowski. I don't think we have way too many road races. I think the sweet spot is in that 4 to 5 range. I'd rather have 6 than 2 on the schedule. They need to mean something. Drivers should be forced to take them seriously. Having 5, 6 road races on the schedule forces drivers and teams to take them very, very seriously. Let me know if you agree down in the comments section below. Is 6 too many? Is 4 too many? Is that just right? Do you want to go back to just 2? Just Watkins Glen, Sonoma? Wipe our hands, be done? Leave a comment down below, and while you're down there, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more NASCAR news, commentary, race reactions, and so much more. I really appreciate your support. I will see y'all again tomorrow. We'll look at the remaining in-season challenge matchups and much more. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm streaming live with the Iceberg. Should be fun. We'll touch on a lot of big stories, react to the latest races, the latest headlines, and much, much more. Come hang out with us 8 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there. Have a good one, folks.